So today I am going to be doing something a little different. I'm actually going to take you behind the scenes into my painting past. For a little over a year now, I've been working on a huge project. Me, my husband, and a good contractor friend of ours have taken a little broken down shed in our backyard. I'll post a picture in the corner of the screen. And we have transformed it into my new studio. It has taken a lot to get to this point, to say the least. Now, most people only see the finished product of these things, but before I show you my big reveal of my finished studio, I actually want to take you back a little bit and show you where my story actually started. I definitely experienced some cramped corners and tiny spaces and, of course, a lot of noise. But if these walls could talk, they would whisper the early days of a dream and a place I never thought I'd be. So when I first started painting on this YouTube channel, I actually was painting in my laundry room. So let me take you there. Okay, so let me turn my camera around. This is the little table that I would paint on, and I got to enjoy listening to the humdrum of my water heater and the washing machine and the dryer. Of course, this is a little cleaner than it usually looks. I usually have, of course, baskets of laundry and sometimes my sewing machine out, but here it is. In fact, I think I have some pictures of when I used to paint here. This was kind of my simple table setup with just a light tripod, my palette and paper with some brushes and supplies off to the side. Here's another picture that my husband caught of me. Don't ask me why I'm sitting on the chair this way, I don't know. I just had an impulse painting moment of an idea and I wanted to test it out really quick, and that is how I found myself. That is actually why my husband took this picture in the first place. I think he thought I was going crazy. Anyway, this was the area I had available, so I made it work. Not much of an inspiring view to look at, just staring at the wall, but you know. Okay, then I upgraded a little bit and took a small room in our house that was kind of just an office space. I mean, some people's walk-in closets are bigger than this, but it worked. This is my other studio that you've seen the majority of my paintings in probably. Let me turn my camera and show you this. This small room just sets off of our living room. It was so small we really didn't use it for anything important. In fact, when we bought this house initially, I always had the thought of eventually turning it into my little art room / studio. The best part about this room is the nice big windows. They bring a lot of natural light in, which actually sometimes was an issue creating videos, but small as this room is, it was so much more inspiring to have a nice view looking outside rather than staring at the wall in the laundry room. Probably one of the biggest issues with this small space, though, was finding furniture that could suit my needs, fit in the small space, and be able to be used for storage as well. But I found some nice furniture pieces. It pretty much filled the whole space, but it worked well for what I needed. I really love this little room. In fact, I'm actually going to miss it now that I have my new studio. Lots of good work and memories in this space. But one of the tricks I had with this room is that it is still inside and a part of my house where my 4 amazing children are running around. One of the reasons I've always done voiceovers in my videos has been because their voices, their laughter, their playing in the background has always been a little bit chaotic. I love being close to them, but it often causes me to be interrupted in the middle of painting, so I can help them out too. But the nice thing about my new studio is that since it's right in my backyard, I'm still only a few feet away from the house and my family, but it is separate enough that I'm not going to have as many interruptions while I'm at work. You know, I didn't think to take videos of this shed before the project, but here is a couple of pictures that I found that I took a while back. You can see this really isn't anything too special, just a small cinder block shed with no windows. It really was in pretty rough shape. The shingles were falling off of the roof and it leaked if it rained. The old wood on the door was disintegrating and there was an old basketball hoop connected to the front. And actually, here's a little video I found where I was observing some birds through my little art room window in the house, but basically we just use this little shed as storage for those things that you have but you don't know what to do with or don't use very often. Here are some pictures of the inside of the shed. Really not much to look at. These pictures are actually in the middle of clearing things out and getting ready for the creation of the studio, so don't judge me, but there was a lot of junk in here before I took these pictures even. In fact, it may be hard to tell, but there was actually a divider wall that split this small room in half, which made it feel even smaller. There was barely any light coming from the singular light bulb up above, lots of makeshift shelves that lined the walls, and then it just had a cement floor. Then the cinder block walls, a low-hanging ceiling, and it was very dark and dingy. To be honest, I didn't even like coming in here just to get my Christmas decorations. It did help the look of the outside cinder block quite a bit though when we painted it white, but at this point we have brand new shingles on the roof so it won't be leaking anymore. This is the inside after we cleared out all of the storage junk and took that center wall out, and that made a huge difference to the feel, but we did still have a lot left to go. And actually, funny story, as I said, we thought there were no windows in this building, but during our demo process, we were taking out some old insulation and discovered a hidden window within the walls that had been covered up by bricks on the outside and then insulation and wood beams on the inside. It even still had the glass in it, so that was a crazy find for sure, but unfortunately it happened to be in just the wrong spot for the new window, so we had to do a little bit of creative fixing for that hole. And these pictures are of the day our contractor started cutting into the cinder block to make holes for the new windows. I was so nervous that the entire shed would come crashing to the ground when they started this process. I couldn't bear to watch most of the time. I just sat there biting my nails and peeking out the window every once in a while because obviously my curiosity got the better of me. But it turned out fantastic, and in the end, the shed is still standing, and as you can see, the new windows added so much light into the room. It was like an entirely new shed at this point. We were able to put a window in each of the 4 sides, so no matter where the sun is through the day or even seasonally, I am always going to get a good amount of natural light in here. The next step to the process was to take out the rafters in the ceiling and open that up, and then we were able to put in electricity for the outlets and for the lights, both on the inside and the outside of the shed. We sprayed in the insulation and then even started putting on some wall boards. This is showing kind of the halfway mark of putting the walls on, but I could really start envisioning what this was going to become. It was so exciting, but also so hard to be patient. Check out my walls. I've got shiplap all over everything. It looks awesome. Here is after all of the shiplap boards were up and covering the walls as well as the ceiling, and my husband even put in a heating/cooling unit so that it will be a comfortable temperature all year round as well. These beautiful white walls and the light from the windows just made this space pop. It was hard to believe it was that same dingy, broken down shed. I'm just coming out to check on the progress of my shop today. I can't actually go in there, but they are working on the tile. Let's see if I can show through there. Look at that tile, and they just finished painting everything too, and I have my lights in there. This is going to be so pretty. And besides the pretty lights I have on the inside of the building, I also got some outdoor lights as well, which really create a warm and homey look both during the day and especially at night. You might also notice I have a new beautiful door on here as well with a pretty window in it too. But at this point, we have the tile done, the windows are framed in, my new door is painted black, the outlets are all in, the baseboards are on. I cannot believe how beautiful this all turned out. It is finally moving in day. Now, before I do my big reveal, here is a quick look back once again at how this shed looked before and then after. And I think I can safely say this building is no longer a shed, but deserves the title of studio now. Well, I think that is it. Here's the moment of truth. Well, I guess that's it for the inside scoop of my studios. I hope you enjoyed the tour and the little background information about me. And I hope to see you again next week, where we will start painting again with watercolors. This is going to be one you are not going to want to miss. But until then, take care and happy painting, my friends.